Ever think about how a politician's words, like something said in the heat of a debate, could end up impacting a town miles away?
Oh, absolutely. The ripple effect can be huge.
Today's deep dive takes us to Springfield, Ohio. Haitian restaurants there are at the heart of a story about, well, truth, resilience, and community. We're looking at this article from The Guardian, just out today, September 22nd. It's called Ohio Residents Flock to Springfield's Haitian Restaurants. They are family, and it's about way more than just food. So picture this: Springfield, Ohio. Not exactly known for its international cuisine, right?
Right.
But suddenly, Haitian restaurants there are absolutely slammed. And not just with locals. People are driving in from all over, all thanks to some, shall we say, interesting claims by Donald Trump. To get what's happening, we need some
Then
context.
all ears.
Ah, okay, so we're in a supercharged election cycle, right? Uh-huh. JD Vance is running for a major office in Ohio, trying to win over voters. And sometimes politicians use tactics that are, let's just say they stretch the truth a bit to get people on their side.
Yeah, unfortunately that happened.
During a recent debate, Trump made these accusations about Haitian immigrants in Springfield. And let's just say people are pushing back big time.
How so?
The article paints this picture of Rose Gout Creole restaurant, the lines out the door, the kitchen's hopping, and people like Daddy Fan Fan are showing up to volunteer, not just eat.
Mm.
And get this, the parking lot, full of license plates from all over. Georgia, Wisconsin, Indiana, you name it.
Wow, that's incredible.
It's like this huge show of solidarity, a giant "we got your back" message, all delivered through plates of amazing Haitian food.
I love that. It really speaks to this idea of voting with your wallet.
Exactly. Consumers have more power than they realize. Throughout history, we've seen boycotts bring down huge corporations, movements gain steam through where people spend their money. In this case, people are saying, hey, we see you, Haitian community, we support you, and they're backing it up with their wallets, literally.
It's putting your money where your mouth is in the best way possible.
And speaking of putting money where their mouths are, the article talks about this surge in donations to groups that support the Haitian community in Springfield. Like, one example is the Society of St. Vincent de Paul. They had a 7-fold increase in donations in just 3 days.
Wow, that's amazing.
Isn't it an incredible example of what we call bridging social capital, right?
Exactly. It's that beautiful thing that happens when people reach out across their differences, especially when someone's been wronged. It builds trust and understanding. Like, think about how sharing a meal with someone from a different background can break down stereotypes, create connections. That's bridging social capital in action.
It's not just organizations seeing this outpouring, though. The article highlights some really touching stories of individuals going above and beyond.
Like what?
Well, there's Sammy, who rode her motorcycle all the way from Cleveland to volunteer at the Haitian Community Help and Support Center.
Wow.
Or Joanne Welland, a 79-year-old woman who was so disturbed by what she was hearing about Haitians that she felt she had to donate.
That's amazing. It's heartwarming to see that kind of response.
It's inspiring to see people step up like that. What do you think?
It really shows that even in the middle of all the political noise and misinformation, there's still so much room for empathy and compassion. It's proof that people can choose kindness and connection, even when things are tough.
It's a good reminder for sure. Sadly, though, it's not all sunshine and roses. The article also points out some really disturbing consequences of these accusations.
What do you mean?
While all this support was happening, there was this darker side playing out at the same time.
Yeah, the spread of misinformation often has real-world consequences, unfortunately. We can't forget that.
And that's the truly heartbreaking part about all this. This isn't just like some isolated thing happening in Springfield. It's part of this bigger problem.
Totally. We're seeing this everywhere, this flood of misinformation and people losing trust in, like, the usual sources of information. It's like we're in this post-truth world or something where people's feelings matter more than the actual facts.
Right. And social media, with all its good points, has become like this breeding ground for misinformation, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a double-edged sword, that's for sure. People are hit with so much information from all sides these days, it's almost impossible to figure out what's real and what's not. And we end up in these echo chambers online, only seeing stuff we already agree with.
It's true. And the algorithms, those things that decide what we see online, they just make it worse. They feed us more of the same, so it's like this loop.
Absolutely. It makes it really hard to break free and see other perspectives.
Yeah. And because of that, people just dig in deeper, making it almost impossible to have, like, real conversations, let alone find common ground.
It's like we're losing that shared reality, that common understanding of the world.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
It really is. But amidst all that, the Springfield story, it gives me some hope, It shows what community can do, how even these small acts of like resistance can actually make a difference.
Totally. The way people rallied around the Haitian community there, super inspiring. It shows that even when things are really rough, human connection, that solidarity, it can cut through.
For sure. It highlights how vital it is to have those spaces where people feel seen, feel heard, feel valued, especially for communities that are often, pushed to the margins or targeted by hate. And that brings us back to the big question, right? What can we actually do about this? It's easy to feel overwhelmed by it all, It's not like we can all just hop in our cars and head to the nearest Haitian restaurant.
Right. Although after hearing about that food,
That's tempting.
right. But this goes deeper than just one plate of food, no matter how good. This story, it makes you think about, like, our own responsibility. How can each of us be smarter about the information we're taking in? How do we stop this misinformation wildfire from spreading?
It's tough, right? It's like we're drowning in all these different stories, all these different sides. Where do you even begin? Exactly. So for me, I think it starts with like a healthy dose of skepticism. We can't just believe everything we read, especially when it comes from, sources that clearly have an agenda.
Right. Always got to ask, who's saying this and why?
Totally. Think about their biases. Look for actual evidence. Like,
Yeah.
what are the facts backing up what they're saying? We've all got to become our own little fact-checking team.
I love that.
Yeah.
Be your own fact checker. But it goes beyond just being critical of what we read and see. It's also about what we choose to get behind, where we spend our money, what organizations we support, even just the conversations we're willing to have.
It all adds up, right?
Every single choice we make, it all adds up to the kind of world we want to live in. This whole Springfield story, it reminds us that even these little acts of kindness, these little moments of connection, they can make a difference.
That's the takeaway for me, this whole deep dive. It's been a roller coaster, Anger at the lies, so much respect for how strong that community is, and also just this little bit of hope that people still want to come together, to have each other's backs, even with everything going on.
It's powerful. Shows you what we're capable of. We can choose compassion over fear. We can choose connection over being divided. That's what it boils down to. What kind of world do we want?
And that's the question we'll leave with you, dear listener. That's something for all of us to think about. Do we let fear and suspicion define us? Or do we build a world where everyone feels safe, respected, seen for who they are?
And that answer, it's not going to be found in some political speech or on our social media feeds. It's on us, those individual choices we make every day.
So as you go about your day, think about this. What little act of kindness can you do? How can you be a force for good, for understanding right where you are? Just a little food for thought.
Food for thought indeed.